All right, hello everyone, and today we are going to be discussing the topic of surgery after an accident, why your case may be worth much more than you think. Welcome to another segment of Live with Mitch, brought to you by Proner & Proner, a law firm with a global presence and expertise that feels local and personal. I'm your host, Mel Maguia. And today we're going to sit down with the expert himself, Mitch Proner, a personal injury attorney with over 30 years of experience, here to answer your questions and share insights you'll find useful in the personal injury world. And remember, folks, all consultations are free and confidential. Reach us at any time at 1-800-321-1234. How you doing, Mitch? Long time no
Doing
talk.
great, doing great. So I'm actually on trial, and the judge called a recess for the holidays, and we start again next month. So I'm in the office doing some work and happy to present again. How about yourself, Mel? How's everything?
Good. Just like we're discussing. I'm just tired, but it's been nice to see snow again. Let's put it that way. Otherwise, I'm good. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. It's the holidays, right?
Right?
So like I mean, definitely surgery. That's one thing I've learned here in the past months. I've been working here, but yeah, like, can you expand on that more? Why your case may be much more than you think with surgery after an accident?
So typically, the cases that are worth the least are the cases that don't have permanency. So if somebody goes to the doctor and they treat for a few weeks and they're feeling better, that case isn't worth very much. The cases that have more value are the case where the injuries are permanent. You're entitled to compensation for the loss of quality of life. And if the quality of your life hasn't really changed, then the case isn't worth that much. If the quality of your life has changed because of an injury, the case is worth significantly more. Typically, somebody might go to a doctor and the doctor might say, all right, we'll put you in therapy for a little while. And then therapy doesn't work. Well, I say, let's try an injection. That might do the trick. They might feel better and go on with their life. Other times, despite conservative therapy, could be chiropractic, could be acupuncture, could be massage, could be stimulation from a TENS unit, which is an electric stimulation. Well, next they try injections. Injections might work, they might not. The doctor might say, you need surgery. Now, the person could say, you know what? I don't want surgery. I'm just going to live with it. Part of every lawsuit is the other side has the right to have their own doctors examine you. And their doctors consistently write reports that say two things. One, they'll say the examination was normal. They don't see anything wrong with you. Two, they'll say any problems you have are degenerative. They're not from an accident. They're from aging. Now, if your medical doctors say you need surgery because your pain is progressive and not getting better, and surgery is the only thing that could help you, they have doctors that say you don't need surgery. So now, they can come in with a low settlement offer. And you can either take the low settlement offer or you can go to trial. Now, if you go to trial, your lawyer is going to present evidence that you're injured, you're suffering, and you require surgery. But you have chosen not to get it. Their doctors are going to say, it's all made up, it's normal aging, and you don't need surgery.
Right.
Now, the jury's left to think, well, I guess the doctors are saying they need surgery, but maybe they just don't want it. And then they hear the defendant saying they don't need surgery. And if the pain was so bad, she would have gotten the surgery, or he would have gotten the surgery. And the jury's left, maybe the other side's right. Maybe they don't need the surgery. Maybe it is from aging. On the other hand, if somebody has surgery, the jury's left to think, well, pain must have been pretty bad if they needed the surgery.
Right.
And the other side is left saying, well, they made a good recovery and the surgery wasn't for the injury, it's just for aging. The other side has a tougher argument once you've had the surgery.
Right.
Average juror is going to award more money on a case involving surgery. And the carriers pay more money in settlement when surgery is involved. And that's why surgeries can definitely affect the value of a case. What's interesting is it used to be that big cases, they had surgery in the hospital right away.
Really?
You went to the hospital, right away they did surgery. Within 24 hours, they were doing surgery. And then you had 2 or 3 weeks in the hospital, and then you got out. Nowadays, they send people home, they start treating, and then the surgeries are arthroscopic, and they happen 2 years later when the people's dealing with the pain and they say, well, my neck's not getting any better, I better get the surgery. They didn't have that before. People weren't treated that way. Arthroscopic injuries, arthroscopic surgeries, where they just go in with, they make 3 little portals. That's incisions about the size of the width of your thumb.
Right.
And in one of those goes a camera, and in the other goes tools. With the 3 incisions, they start doing some work in there. They do debridement, where they clean out damaged tissue. They might do some sutures. And it's all done through these little portals. They can take out some disc material that's impinging on a nerve. And then you're not in the hospital for 3 weeks anymore. Because they found the longer you're in the hospital, the more likely you are to get some other disease, an infection.
Right.
That could complicate your recovery. So medicine's changed and the surgeries have changed, but the values have gone up for these cases where you're getting surgery later on.
So because it's less invasive, does that, I mean, the only thing that's really changing is the time frame of when you're going in, right? That still shouldn't affect
even
the
if it's
case.
minimally invasive, we can still have an artist drop the procedure and show it from the inside.
Got it. Right.
And so it's still a surgery and it still increases the value. So even if it's minimally invasive, it still increases the value.
Right.
Minimally invasive means there's a faster recovery time, and hopefully the patient, which is our client, gets some relief. Hopefully the surgery is successful. I had a doctor on the stand just last week, and he says, I tell my clients after next surgery, I say, you could try and go back to work doing construction. My client had other issues.
Right.
That prevented him from going back to work. He had multiple injuries. But the neck surgeon said, I tell my clients they can go back to work. Interesting, the shoulder surgeon said, no, he can't, the one that did the arthroscopic, because he can't do the overhead and the lifting.
Okay.
But the neck surgery, which was a big surgery where they went through the neck and they cut it open and increased the value more, that doctor said he could go back. So it all depends on the surgeon and the patient. But those cases typically they're I've been successful getting multi-million-dollar results for my clients.
Right. I did have a question for you in terms of permanency. Just for my clarification, I'm sure for other viewers out there, one example of permanency is like a lost limb. But then what if someone has a broken arm that is fractured? Is that the next level down from a permanency, or is that within permanency?
For every injury, it's not what I say it is, and it's not what the client says it is. It's what the doctor says it is. So
Okay.
the doctor has to come in and he has to say three things. One, what's the diagnosis? So in your scenario, broken arm.
Right.
All right. That's the diagnosis. Fractured ulna and radius, fractured humerus, broken arm. Humerus is this bone here. Ulna and radius is this bone here. The bump that you see on your wrist, that's the ulna styloid. That's the end of your ulna.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay. And the other bone next to it is the radius, and that makes up your forearm. So broken arm would be one of those three bones.
Okay.
Now, the doctor is the one that would come in and say, that's my diagnosis, fractured ulna. Next thing is the doctor has to give you causation. If you're suing a defendant for, let's say, a motor vehicle accident, the doctor has to say, it was broken in the automobile accident.
Okay.
Doctor has to give you causation. That's not from aging. That's from trauma, the condition I observed. So it has to give you the diagnosis, has to give you causation, and then has to give you a prognosis. A prognosis is what's the future? And the doctor could say, it healed without complication. It was a mid-shaft fracture. There's going to be some scar tissue that forms there. I don't see any complications. I don't see where that's going to bother him. He's probably going to never feel it again. There's no permanency.
Got it.
Or the doctor could say, that fracture went through the articular surface of the wrist. Once the articular surface is the covering of the joint, once it's disrupted, you're going to have greater arthritis, greater limitation of motion. It's going to be progressive with a reasonable degree of medical certainty. There's going to be loss of strength, restriction of movement, and the damage is permanent.
There. Okay. That makes sense.
Once the doctor gives you that permanency, you're now entitled to not just damages up until the time the doctor said you're all better, but now you're entitled to damages for the rest of your life expectancy. Everybody has a statistical life expectancy.
Right.
So your statistical life expectancy might be you'll live to 78 years old. That doesn't mean you're not going to live to 90, or it also doesn't mean you're not going to get hit by a car and die leaving the office today.
Yep.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. We don't know.
Fingers crossed.
We don't know. But statistically, you're going to live to 78. You're
Yes.
entitled to money damages from your lawsuit for your entire life expectancy,
Right.
because you're likely to have pain and suffering and loss of quality of life for your life expectancy. So the doctor gives you permanency, you're entitled to more money damages.
Excellent. Well, that definitely clarifies it. And I'm sorry, still laughing at the comment. That was hilarious. Well, Mitch, thank you again. We're starting to run out of time, but I
Be careful
appreciate it.
going home.
I
Your health's
know.
more important. Your
I'm
health's
gonna
more
stay,
important
I'm
than any
staying in
money
the
I'm going to get
office.
you.
I'm staying in the office now. You're gonna just find me under the desk. We're taking a nap. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Straight from the expert himself, Mitch Proner. That wraps it up for now. And thank you for taking the time to tune in. Whether it's on our podcast or video broadcast, we really do appreciate it. And remember, you can reach us 24/7 at 1-800-321-1234. All consultations are free and confidential. And if you haven't done it yet, please follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Like, share, and please subscribe to get the latest updates. Now, before we go, Mitch, anything else you want to add besides telling my future, please?
Yeah. Happy holidays and,
Oh,
be well. And thanks for your time.
excellent. Happy holidays to you too, Mitch. Thank you, Mitch, and for yet another informative session. And thank you all for checking us out. I know I learned a lot. I hope you did all too. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Thank you.